Hey everyone, Mr. Clutch here, looking at our hindsight recap today for SPY and QQQ. We'll start with SPY and we'll just jump right in. It was kind of a zone to zone day, just a lot of ups, a lot of downs, and kind of just stayed in the same range all day. So there were definitely some things to catch in here, but it wasn't the easiest day for you to find a move, but there were plenty if you were quick, and you drew some nice trend lines that you could have played and found some good risk to reward spots. So first thing I noticed was out of the open here, you could connect a trend line with right here, and I usually don't look at these, but it seems like lately we've had a lot of these out of open. You can kind of tell. Here we go. We're squeezing down into this. Into open. So as soon as this thing breaks and it's under 13, that was actually not a bad move to catch right there. And then so at that point you're clearly trending down. You might be watching this little flag back. That's tough though because it's so steep. I think we actually talked about this in Discord. It would have worked there, but I usually don't like drawing them that steep with just a couple candles. So I was probably looking something more like this, and I think we actually did outline this one in the Discord, and ended up being a 75% move. Even if you got in here, I think it was still. I think you still didn't necessarily get stopped out here. I'd have to look back to see, but and then you had this nice big move down. So the next thing you're watching those, we know we've got our zone down here, and so we're into the zone, and I had these zones pre-drawn, of course. You can draw a little trend line, something like that, from the top down across here now, and that thing pierces through the 13, and that's a quick, nice move up. Again, you got a lot above it. EMAs aren't the right way, so it's not a move that I would necessarily be looking to jump in. It's just showing that it's there. Let's see here. So as we're continuing on, now we're just chopping back and forth. EMAs are tightening up. Not a lot here that you want to try to take, in my opinion. I think I had this drawn out intraday too. Just kind of this here to these wicks here, and then it came and stopped here, and it was kind of trying. Well, it gets through here off of 13. And 13's yellow, purple's 48, and my green's VWAP. So when it gets through there, there's some room up to the, up to the 200. You could potentially find a move there, but again, not something that we're typically taking in the Discord with the 2-minute strategy. So the next line I have drawn out's right here. This was clearly crawling up, came back. As soon as it breaks here, you could try to jump in that if you're playing trend line breaks and you're below all your EMAs. They're lining up correctly, but the better move might have been this flag right here. So that's a nice flag right there, and then when that starts breaking down off the 13, that's an excellent move. That's a textbook move you can catch there. So at that point, yeah, we're just kind of waiting. Again, this is a pretty steep trend line down. You could connect a lot of points through here though, and that would have got you in. It's funny, we've seen some of these on these hindsights that you could catch some of these moves right on the bottom candle by drawing these lines, but not one I'm typically going to play. So then there's kind of a trend line. We're getting a lot of trend lines. I'm going to delete a few of these here just to get them out of the way. We've got this trend line right here through these wicks. There's quite a few candles. You could draw that a little better, I'm sure, but again, it breaks back through all of our EMAs. The 200 is a little closer this time, but you could probably get in right there and find a decent move. If not, there's this little flag here. Comes up, and that's where it claims the 200, and off it goes. So potentially something there as well. And then the other line I do like would be something like that. But again, these aren't moves that I'm looking at as A+ setups when they're just breaking these trend lines and the EMAs are, in and out here. So not necessarily something that I'd absolutely love taking on these. And then you're just chopping back and forth in a smaller zone here. So you look here. At some point here, after a few candles, you're probably just drawing you a line there and then something below this. and just saying I'm not taking anything unless there's a close above or below. So when it starts closing, you could try there, but again, not something that you're going to feel super great about just looking at the chart. So let's take a look at QQQ. I'll make this a little bigger here. It didn't have the same thing on the high side coming in to the open, but it did have this right here. It's already kind of breaking down, but yeah, I mean, there's a little tiny flag there actually to the 13, and off it goes. But you may have got chopped up in that, so it didn't look near as good as the SPY setup. So I'm probably starting to draw something like this. As this is here, this forms, comes back here. There's some stuff here. I mean, you might treat this like a flag. Again, it's a little steep for my liking, but I mean, it's not a bad flag off 13. Starting to spread out, your EMAs are, and here it goes. So catch a nice little move there. I'm looking at this trend line here. Yeah, you could have got tricked into that and maybe stopped out if you took something there. So that's why I say a lot of these aren't necessarily. I'm just kind of showing you what we're looking at and what's building out throughout the day, not necessarily the moves we take. You got this pretty long, already did that one there. Yeah, so really you're just kind of waiting and watching. Now as we're getting in the zone, you're thinking, okay, we're going to break it or we're going to bounce off of it. So I think that's the one I drew right there, right? Yeah. Yeah, that right there, as this comes through, you might have got tempted to take it here. And I don't know if that was enough to stop you out or not, but there's definitely some big wicks there. You might have done something, moved something up like that. You could even brought it down to even the opening candles. But then you get the 200 above it, and these zones are pretty tight together. So this was kind of tough here. Then it gets back into that zone. This was this was a really nice trend line here that I liked. Taps it a few times. This one actually maybe, I guess you could, if you try to take that without a candle close, you might have got stopped out. If not, you might have just kind of finagled your line a little and then caught this. But again, your EMAs are bunched up here, so not a lot to like. And that just kind of shows you in the Discord, Casey took one move today, and that's look. I mean, there's not a lot of entries. Your EMAs are flipping back and forth half the day or more. Very few times they get spread out, maybe here and here. Other times they're just chopping back and forth. So not a lot to love there. And you get late in the day and there's not a lot. So I mean, you got that right there, and yeah, I mean, you could have easily got stopped out. And what that on a lot of these moves. So what that shows you is, again, know where your zones are. See if you're going to break them or if you're going to reject them, and kind of playing your moves off that. That's why Casey always likes to let it clear and then flag back. We never really cleared today, just chop back and forth between all day. So if you didn't catch many moves or you got stopped out a handful of times today, just kind of look back and think about those spots you were in and reassess if they were A+ setups, and kind of take some notes on that and see what you could have done better. But if you didn't end up in a lot of moves, then this is why. So anyways, with that said, we'll try to do this again tomorrow and finish out the week, and hopefully everybody has a good Friday.